We have some breaking news. Unsealed court records show that after the attack on the Capitol, the FBI infiltrated a group led by a Capitol riot suspect in Northern Virginia. And members of that group talked about surveilling the Capitol, testing homemade bombs, and also seceding from the U.S. Joining me now, CNN law enforcement correspondent Whitney Wild, as well as D.C. Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone, who was assaulted by rioters as he tried to protect the Capitol on January 6th. Whitney, if you can just take us through your reporting here. It centers around a Virginia man named Phi Duong. Tell us about him. He was arrested last week.
So I need to do a shout out to my amazing team here. Caitlin Polans, Hannah Rabinowitz, doing this story for us, staying up late to go through these court records. Basically, here's the deal. So there's this guy, Phi Duong, who FBI agents who were undercover contacted. And they basically, investigated him for a series of months. And what they found was that he was part of this group of people who were under the guise of a Bible study group. So they were pretending to be a Bible study group.
Wasn't really a Bible study group.
Right. Although in some meetings, the FBI says they talked about the Bible, but really they were talking about how to secede from the United States. They were talking about weapons and training. And this man, Phi Duong, is actually accused of having played a role in the insurrection. The FBI agents say that he went into the Capitol. And so now he's facing 4 charges related to that. But what they found through the course of their investigation, Brianna, is he had this stash of weapons in Alexandria. And so he wanted to create and test Molotov cocktails. He was among this group of people who was discussing surveilling the Capitol, looking for weaknesses, as well as trying to effect a secession from the United States in Northern Virginia. Important to note, though, we did reach out to his attorney. The attorney didn't have a comment. He has not been indicted for any of the alleged crimes that happened after January 6th, just the ones that happened on January 6th.
It sounds like he fancied himself, according to these court documents, a bit of an operator. I don't want to overstate his abilities when it came to tradecraft, but there seemed to be a lot of, there was this encrypted element of communications, there was the surveillance, and then when you look back to January 6th, it appears he's kind of trying to dress like Antifa, which he obviously is not.
Right. He told law enforcement he was this sort of operator in this space. So this had some level of organization. And that actually plays into this greater theme we've been talking about so much here at CNN, which is there were these groups who apparently, according to these court records, are perhaps continuing to try to organize and then affect these crimes against the United States. So while this organization is not facing the type of crimes that we saw for like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, it is a reminder that these ideas and these inclinations are extending beyond January 6th and people are acting on them.
I think that's very much the question. And that really brings me to what I want to ask you about, Mike, which is you have in this case a man who's part of a group who was casing the Capitol even after January 6th. What concerns would that raise for you? First, I think it shows, based on, weapons that were recovered from this individual, as well as, some of the plots and planning that took place, that there's an organizational factor and the severity of the individuals who participated in the January 6th insurrection. Obviously, they continue to be inspired by political rhetoric that's being utilized by, former president and his supporters. It speaks to how dangerous that really is in this country. It looks like the FBI intercepted an attempt here. We don't know if there are other groups that might be looking at the same thing, maybe looking for vulnerabilities at the Capitol. Now that there is no longer an element of surprise, do you think the Capitol police here in D.C., police at the Capitol, are prepared to withstand these kinds of threats?
I don't know. I'm not involved in, security or, any of the upgraded protocols for U.S. Capitol Police. I would hope that they would be taking these threats seriously and paying attention.
What does it say? Whitney's been doing some reporting about how there are many personnel issues. You're aware of this when it comes to D.C. police and also Capitol Police. It's a tough job, and they are losing officers, which makes it even tougher for the ones who are remaining. For officers who see this sort of continuing threat, how does this affect how you view your job?
For me, it just what I've seen now is law enforcement's been taking it on the chin for quite some time. and we see, like, that is our community sees, the complete lack of support and abandonment now, not just from members of police reform or traditional communities that that had issues with law enforcement, but now also members of the Republican Party who traditionally espouse support for law enforcement no longer seem to support our department simply because of the January 6th insurrection.
Mike, if you can stick around for us, we have a lot more to talk about here. I do want to get your reaction to some just released video from the day that you were defending the Capitol and where you were attacked. This includes images of a rioter